I'm going live early because I'm doing something that every contester should be doing. It's almost 8 o'clock and I'm listening for the cue to text in. Okay, let's see if we get the keyword. Hold on. Shh. Oh, it takes so long to get to the word. Oh, wait, I didn't miss it. Oh my gosh, is it going to be after this song? I have a little contest group that I check in with. Let's see if I missed it. No, we're going to keep listening. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, well, see, this is how contesters multitask. They're listening for keywords. They have their friends in groups. Some of the websites, some of the sweepstakes aggregates have Discord groups. Some have community chats. Some people just make friends online and they text each other back or DM each other with code words and clues to giveaways. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about what started today and what started 3 weeks ago. So this giveaway, now I live in Canada, but these are similar to other giveaways that other companies hold. Now this one's really cute. It's called Want Prize with That, and it's all secondary prizes. And what McDonald's has done is they've put a pull tab. This is kind of the opposite season of when they host their McDonald's Monopoly, which is no longer held in the US due to the scandal. I have done blogs on it. I have done videos on it. I've done chats on it. And we've talked about it. It's a scandal, not a scam, because it was somebody in the agency. McDonald's didn't even have a clue that somebody was interfering in their giveaway. They had believed that who had won had actually won. They had no idea. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's fun and exciting here. Now, I've been entering since February 4th. I haven't been entering every day. I was getting actually discouraged because I hadn't won anything in it at all. Now, they're giving away prizes in the app. So you get this and you peel this off. We're going to do it live while we're still waiting for the keyword, because this is what contesters do. Now, normally at 8 o'clock at night, I'd be sitting watching TV with George with my little Chromebook in the living room on my little TV tray and entering giveaways or scrolling my phone because for the Instagram ones. But I did win 500 points. Now, here's what's really funny. I was teaching. Oh, wait, keyword. See, that's what happens. You just stop what you're doing and you get the keyword. I got to text it in. 103rd texter qualifies. Okay, here we go. Oh my God, it's contest. How funny is that? Okay, text it in. Cross your fingers. Hope I get a call back. It'd be great to interrupt this live stream. Okay, now I shut off the radio. That's just rude. And I pull this in because my office is extremely small. And so I made my own little backdrop here. Okay, so cross your fingers. So what happened was I was teaching Helene Hansel's Maneuvers for Witchcraft 2.0 class. And at the end, we were talking about giveaways because the first half is about mastering her manifesting techniques. And the second half is actually just a quick overview. So it's about 2 hours on Helene and an hour on sweepstaking. And so at the end, I did a code that I had sitting on my desk, and boom, I won 500 points. So today it gave me a little bit of a boost, and I went and got a green tea. Today, Tim Hortons started their roll up to rim. Now, is it a coincidence that McDonald's started theirs 3 weeks earlier? I think not. As a marketer, it's strategic timing. What they used to do is McDonald's used to do their small coffees for $1 or medium coffees for $1, something for $1, or was it all sizes? I can't remember. But they would compete. So these guys would have their roll up to rim and their competitor would do $1 coffees. So, 500 points is 500 points. That's what Beverly says. Yep, 500 points. So I was very happy because I was getting discouraged and thinking I wasn't going to win. Now, What happened was there's actually a bit of history on this. So now what's interesting is these are what they call seeded giveaways. Okay. Because originally there was no online component. It was all in the cups, similar to McDonald's when they used to have just straight up Monopoly. There was no online component. They're what you call a seeded contest. Similar, the most famous one is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You had to find one of the golden tickets, one of the 5 golden tickets within millions of chocolate bars. Same thing. I think the last stat is they make about 36 million cups. Actually, why don't I just quickly go and look it up? And we'll do that now. Tim Hortons, roll up the rim. Okay, roll up to now. There's a whole history I want to go over. Okay, let me just see what the stats is. Of course, what's my number one tip is to always read the rules. And I did scan them this year, but I don't remember the exact number of full rules and regs. Okay, so how many cups did they make? So it's now there's paper and digital this year, but what happened is they used to just be paper, and there was millions of cups printed. I want to see if they have the listing. It doesn't seem to say, and their rules are 36 pages long. You think that their lawyers made sure that this was Loctite? What I always tell people is the rules are legal and binding contract between the sponsor and the entrant that will be upheld in a court of law, of course, in favor of the sponsor. Yeah, I don't usually, they used to have the odds of winning. Oh, okay. So there's 4. Now this is interesting. I don't know how many cups are printed. I didn't spot that, but there's 14,707,691 cup prizes. And there's on the digital part of it, there's 19,080,226 digital prizes available. So that's so they've split the prizes between. So what happened was these used to be just paper, okay? And there were stories of people throwing away cups and then finding someone else later that they knew that picked up their cup and it won. So then a legal battle ensues. There'd be somebody at the office that just goes buy coffees for everybody. Somebody else rolls one of the vehicles. It was it was when they gave away trucks. And the person's like, I bought coffee. That's my truck. And they're like, no, you just gave me the coffee. Gotta have agreements before, because the person had the cup. They're the winner. So they had all this. Now, one year, there was a terrible snowstorm and their sales were down. And because they always held this in February. So they moved it to March. But guess what happened in March? That was 2020. So no one, because a lot of people drink straight from the cup, or they have trouble with the rim and they rip it off with their teeth. And then you take your coffee prize or your free donut or whatever, and you hand it to the cashier. Well, at that point, no one's touching anything that's been in anybody's mouth. That's just gross. And so I'm actually kind of shocked they brought it back. So they canceled it and then made an app version. And that was okay for the first while because everyone was in a bit of a kerfuffle, but people really complained they wanted the cups back. So it used to be called roll up the rim to win, or roll up to win, roll up the rim. Then when it went digital, it was called roll up to win. Well, I guess people complained for like 3 years in a row. So now they've got a dual contest. So if you buy a coffee, a tea, anything, any beverage, you make sure that you scan, you use your code, right? So everybody has their own code. It's QR code. And you better make sure you shut off redeem your points, because if you use a free coffee to get one, that roll up, you won't get a free roll here, and they may give you a plain cup. So I always shut off my redeem points to use them after, because you don't want to use a free coffee till after. You can use, they tried to do it one year where you had to scan and pay. That was and you'd get an extra roll. That was highly unsuccessful. So many people complained. So now what they do is if you buy, you have a roll and you have a roll. So now you get 2 rolls. And they said if you bring in your own cup, like, to conserve, they'll give you 2 digital rolls. So if you don't get a cup roll, so either way, you're going to get 2 rolls. So that's what's going to happen on this one. And then this one, what you do is you peel it off, and there's like a little code, and we're going to scan that later. So I was very fascinated that they brought it back. Now, McDonald's has this on medium, large, and extra large only. And then, of course, food products. And you have to look in the app, right? If you go into the McDonald's app, whenever they have a contest, of course, it's never on the small products. Why would they? Remember, none of these companies run these giveaways out of the goodness of their heart. It's to drive sales. All marketing activities are designed to generate sales. Sales is the only income generating arm of a company. Everything else is a cost. And so every activity needs to lead to sales. It's not rocket science, people. It's marketing. So every ad, every billboard, every radio promotion, every digital ad, every contest, and anything that a company does is designed to, in the end, drive sales. Yes, this one is Canada only. I know that different contests are run in the States all the time. The US has so many more promotions than Canada at any given time. All my sweepy friends in the US are always winning far more than me, even if we enter for the same amount, because there's just different giveaways. We have a much smaller population. We're just over the size of California. So marketing budgets are much larger in the States. I always remember realizing when they gave away the Bud Light cruise, and I didn't realize how many cruises they would give away until one year I was at the convention and I was talking to some of the sweepers, because one year it was open to Canada. Oh, I was hoping to win. They didn't. I don't think they do that one anymore. And I realized what they do is they actually charter the whole boat. And when I won a beer contest up here once, we got to go to Calgary. It was the Banff Peak Party with Coors. And they chartered 2 buses to bus all the winners up to Banff from Calgary. And in the United States, they charter an entire ship. So that just gives you the example of the size, the budget difference between the 2 countries. Yeah. Anyway, if you go on here and you go to the order, okay, so I'm going to see. So if you see, you can see the little thing right there. So if I go into where's the, burgers. Okay. So if I go into burgers, right, you can see that it's got the thing, right? Big Mac, Double Mac does not have it. Big Mac has the little contest code, right? You have to look and see. Right? Big Arch is unavailable. Doesn't have it on the, does it have it? No, it doesn't have it on the Quarter Pounder. Actually, the Big Mac's the only one that has it. I'm just scanning here. Yep, it's the only one. So the Big Mac is the only one I would get that on. And if I go to chicken and fish, not the McSpicy, it's only on the 10 nuggets, not the 6 nuggets. And I'm shocked it's not on the 20 nugget meal. Right? Not on the Filet-O-Fish, not on the chicken. So you have to really look to see which of the products. So it's mainly on the drinks. Like if I go to hot drinks, you'll see it's on these. But if I go here and say I want to order premium roast coffee, and you can see the price, and if I switch it to a small, notice it disappears, and I go back to medium, it's there. If I go to large, the prize is there. If I go to extra large. So if you're in an app and you're entering to win, and I don't care what company it is, make sure that whatever you're ordering is going to get you an entry or a roll or a spin or a, whatever it is into the promotion. So let's see if there's any contest before I move on, because this is fun. So I got a steep tea with 1 milk, and I thought I'm going to have a lot of tea tonight. So I got a green tea to kind of, because they're not as strong as the black teas. And oh, yeah, Big Bear Dent. I love Tim Hortons coffee. I buy whole beans here in the States and brew it at home. Yeah, we have one 3 minutes from our house. Like if I stand at a certain angle, I can see the edge of the building. And let's see. Oh, someone's got a book contest going. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, post the link in the chat and tag me on social and I'll share it. Of course, I love helping other fellow creators share their giveaways. And make sure you have official rules, because I don't like sharing if it doesn't have official rules. And they don't have to be grand. Even I do them, simple rules. Eligibility, who can enter? Is it open to the United States, Canada, worldwide, that kind of thing? When does it end? Nothing's more frustrating on social because of the algorithms. You find a giveaway after it's closed. Or you don't know if it's closed or open because there's no end date. So, it ends on February 28th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m., right? So I know I have Eastern time or whatever, Pacific time, wherever you are. So the entrants know when the cutoff is. Because if you find people on the West Coast, say it's open to the whole country, and it ends at 11:59, but you don't put the time, and they're entering at 10 o'clock of their time, but for you, it's now 1, and you've already closed, that's not really fair to them because they don't know. So make sure you have the time and the time zone in your rules if you're running a giveaway. And then, and frequency. So the minimum you need to have is eligibility, end date, and frequency. So if it's an Instagram giveaway, tag 1 friend, tag 3 friends in 1 comment. I hate it when it's ambiguous where it says tag 3 friends. Well, is that 1 per comment or all in 1 comment? I generally take it as 1 comment, but it could mean something else. So if I tag 1 and 1 and 1, it's not, companies need to be very clear, or leave a comment as to what your favorite author is in case, because you said you have a book giveaway. So for example, right? So you can do it like that, or you can use a widget. You can use Rafflecopter. Gleam has a free option. You can use Gleam for free if you want some of the extra features. It's fairly inexpensive every month, that kind of thing. So you can do that. Amy Sass, she has been very lucky lately. She's asked me to post her wins. I can see her comment. So she left me a comment. I thought she wanted me to tell everybody in the club meeting that we had the other night, but she was unable to make it. Our next meeting is on the 4th. So I have a meeting, virtual contest club meeting, approximately every 2 weeks. I try to have them on. I try to change the dates up because some people can't come on weeknights. Some people can only come on weekends. Some people are busy on Mondays. So I move the meeting around so that everybody has a chance to come, because you might not come to every meeting. There's some groups that get together like every week, like every Monday or every Sunday. I don't have the bandwidth for that. I wish I did. So I do about 2 meetings a month, and I move them around. But Amy asked me to say she won a $50 gift card to GameStop, a $100 gift card Ticketmaster, $100 from Pepsi, and a $75 mini projector. Way to go, Amy. That's very exciting. I haven't heard her win that much. We've been sweepy friends for a long time. I just lost my StreamYard tab there for a second. We've been sweepy friends for quite a while. I think we figured out at the last sweepstakes convention, it has been about 10 years. And yeah, she wins, but not all usually in that huge clump. So that was very exciting. And that's what I want to teach people too. That every sweeper that takes his hobby seriously wins. Like if you're entering, you will win. The key is one of the keys is consistency, right? It's just like eating healthy or getting fit. You're not gonna lose all the weight you want or be as strong as you want doing it once. It's consistency over time equals results. The same with sweepstakes. Consistency over time equals results. I need to make that a math equation and put it on Instagram. So back to Tim Hortons. So I'm almost finished this tea and then we can roll up the rim. I did a video this morning when we went to Tim Hortons. Now, normally what George and I do is we get a large coffee and we share it because it's cheaper than a medium and a small together. And, but not when they have roll up to rim. We each take our phones and we each buy a coffee. Anyway, I bought this. This was a Canadian invention. I can't remember who invented it, but it's called the rim roller. It's very hard to see, but it's the exact shape of the cup. So what you do is a lot of people would have trouble. A lot of people would have troubleness. Now this secret, there's still tea in here. I better drink it. The secret is you flatten the cup and then roll. But a lot of people had trouble with that. And so you bought this rim roller and you push it down and you pull it up, which is what we're going to do tonight. Because I finally found it. Which I think is fantastic. So what are the prizes? We've got electric Volkswagen. How cool would that vehicle be to win? ATV. We have an ATV, but I think George wouldn't say no to a second one. $1,000 from Rakuten. A vacation. Now we have to talk about vacations. Speaking of vacations, and I forgot to load it into the slide presentation for this, but I have been saying that I want to win trip number 25 for a while. And I didn't win last year. So I thought, that's okay. I'm going to win 25 in 25. So I had this little mantra. Well, George on the weekend got notified that we won a weekend away next weekend, this coming weekend in Kingston, Ontario for their film festival. So it's 2 nights in an inn, dinner at one of the restaurants. It's an Italian experience. We get to go to 6 films and just basically hang around the city and enjoy the sights and sounds of one of Canada's oldest cities. We actually have a fort there, Fort Henry, because we were protecting ourselves against the Americans. You can pretty much see the United States from there. It's kind of funny. Because we're friends. But yeah, we had Fort Henry to protect ourselves. Because, it was like 250 years ago or 300 years ago or something like that. It's crazy old. Beautiful tours they have of the fort. I took my daughter. When we won, I think the year I met George, so 8 years ago, I won a very similar. And actually, I think the inn is the same. I'm kind of excited because it's a really nice bed and breakfast. Big bad Americans. Yeah. Anyway, so we won. And to me, a trip win is not necessarily something I fly off to some Caribbean island or jet over to Europe or something. I don't have to get up. If I'm not sleeping at home, even though Kingston is a 2-hour drive from my house, that's a trip win because I have to go somewhere and it's too far to come back the same day. So it counts as a trip win. And so that's going to be fun. But then I was like, where's the list? Because I had done a TikTok a long time ago because someone said, you're lying. You haven't won that many trips. That's ridiculous. Because I said at that point I had won like 18 trips or something. And they said, you're lying. And I thought, no, I'm not. So then I thought, you know what? How many have I won? I mean, I thought I knew the number. So I sat down and I wrote them all out. And it was over 20. So I did a TikTok back and I go, you're right. I was lying. I made a mistake. I actually won this many. So it was actually more. And I go back and, you know, I tip myself out of the TikTok and I have this list. I did a green screen and I have this list of giveaways. I wonder if I can pull it in. Let's try and pull it in. This is live. Why not? So I thought, you know, where is this list? I couldn't find it. And I thought it was on a Word document. And I was going through my external hard drive, my drive in the cloud, my miscellaneous folder for my, then I was looking on my phone. Then I was going through TikTok trying to find the video that I had made, which doesn't seem to exist anymore, but there was one that was grayed out. And I think a lot that were muted, I couldn't find it. So I have no idea where it went. Okay, so I think I can do this. Let me see, media assets. How do I add something? Okay, I'm going to add it as an overlay. I don't know how this is going to go. We're going to see. Because I think it actually cuts in the middle. So let's see. Yeah, it does. So I'll sit over here. Because I can't do it as a presentation that goes on the side. Anyway, so my first trip win was in 1991. And then, because I wasn't really entering sweepstakes, and I didn't start entering sweepstakes till 2001. And then we won frequently, like 2002, 2003, 2004, I won 3 trips. 2005, we won 2. 06 was 2. Banff, there's 2007, there's that one. 2008, we won 3. That was crazy. And then 2 in 2010. And then there was a gap. And I think it's because my energy went way down. That was when I was in a divorce. And honestly, I really do believe, you know, you have to just be also like not toxic positivity, but you have to be in the right mindset to be winning big. Then I won a Niagara Falls getaway. So that was 2 hours the other way from Kingston. Niagara Falls is 2 hours the other way from me. So Kingston is 2 hours east and Niagara Falls is 2 hours west. And actually it's west and then under because you have to go around Lake Ontario. And that was for a wine tour. We have a big wine country there. San Francisco, it wasn't actually to San Francisco. I won Air Canada gift cards and I used it to go to San Francisco. Then I won a weekend in Montreal. Then I won that weekend with Lane in Kingston. Orlando, Florida, that was the Universal trip. That was the big one. That I consider the big one because it was quite the gap in between like big trip giveaways. And then we won that booking.com gift card and I took my sister and my brother-in-law and George to Mexico. But it's been 3 years, like just over 2 years, 3 years, because I won it during the Super Bowl. So it's been 3 years since I won a trip. So we were due. And I looked and actually they had, but if you see it, look, it's number 23 and I'm racking my brains. I'm like, did I miss any? So really, if I'm going to win 25 and 25, I need to win 2 more trips this year. Goals, right? Set yourself up for some goals. Is there a link to the instant wins? No, not specifically. So how you find instant wins is you're just looking for giveaways that have instant win components. So you can look for, if you go to your sweepstakes aggregates, a lot of them have search features and you can search for the word instant. So some giveaways that are smaller only have instant win components, but like just instant wins. Because technically rolling up and doing it on the phone, both are instant. They're seeded, but they're also instant, right? So this is technically seeded, and this is technically instant, right? And this one is instant because it's not seeded. It's a code. And they also have a weekly draw for 15,000. So I wouldn't sneeze if I won one of those either. It's still hot. This one's cooled off because there's only a little bit left. So I finished that off so we can do it. So a lot of times you can just squish and roll. But since I went digging, I'm like, where is my rim roller? And I found it. This was actually patented, right? It says push and pull. It's even got arrows. It's got directions on it. It's very hard to see. It's kind of embedded in the... So you take it. Let's see if I can do it facing the camera. And you want to put it right where the arrow is because that's where the thing is going to be. So you put it down and you pull up. Look at that. And what does it say? Play again. We do not like that word again. What is that? So the other way you can do it if we needed to see is you flatten the cup and you roll. Please play again. Okay. And then this one, there is nothing on the cup. This is only one chance. And they do have their tiny, tiny rules here. And the big rules are on the site, of course. Now, actually, there's also an interesting history on the coffee of McDonald's. Tim Hortons decided it wanted to brew their coffee in-house. So they stopped using their supplier and started brewing or blending and roasting their own coffee. People were up in arms when that happened. And McDonald's quietly went and obtained their old supplier. So if you go to McCafe in Canada, it's the old Tim Hortons coffee. And they used to accept debit because for a long time, Tim Hortons was only cash. And people, you know, if you didn't happen to have cash on you, you couldn't go to Tim Hortons. So over time, they were their hand was kind of forced by McDonald's to accept debit cards, credit cards, make an app, do all these things that they didn't want to do. And we were talking about this the other night. If you watched Wayne's World and they went to Stan Mikita's coffee shop, Stan Mikita was a hockey player. Most people don't know that Tim Horton was a coffee player. He was a hockey player and died tragically. He was an alcoholic and died in a terrible car accident. And now it's been bought out by a large conglomerate. A lot of times you'll see them side by side with the Wendy's. But Tim Horton was a hockey player. So in Wayne's World, Mike Myers is Canadian, grew up in Scarborough. So a lot of the jokes in the show, in those skits I got, and in the movie, because I grew up in Scarborough, like the paneled basement had one. So they went to Stan Mikita's and they'd order the sugar pucks. And I remember seeing the movie and I was laughing so hard at some of these little inside jokes because I lived in Australia at the time this came out. So I remember some of the jokes. I'm laughing so hard in the theater because I grew up in the same town that Mike Myers did. And the entire audience was Australians except for me. So I'm laughing, the lone chuckler in the entire theater. I'll never forget it. Oh, Sandy says McDonald's coffee's her favorite. Yeah, she's Canadian, so I know she knows, but I don't know if it's the same supplier in the States, though. Oh, Beth says, I have all my wins on a spreadsheet. It helps me keep tracks of ones that have not arrived and have good memories. You know, I started doing a spreadsheet again this year. I've had a spreadsheet. I had a spreadsheet for years. I used to track every win. Like today, George won a coffee and I remembered, and I actually went into the spreadsheet and added the $2 coffee because it counts, because you're amazed at how it adds up. right? So I added the $2 coffee he won. And so, but for years while I was going through my misery, and I wasn't winning a lot, I didn't keep track. And then I got super busy and I would forget to keep track. And now I'm like, no, it doesn't matter how busy I am. I'm keeping track. So yeah, it is a lot of good memories there. Oh, Sandy says I've won Great Lodge twice and my kids loved it. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, this is fun. 3 of us flew out of BC to Toronto to see you for a contest convention. Yeah, that was a hot minute ago. I think it was in the 90s. No, it was 2007. I know. We lose track of time. Since we won 2 Jeeps from the same radio station, kept one, sold one, other stuff. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have yet to win my first car. Maybe I'm going to roll and win an electric, what is it? It's called an ID Buzz, which is kind of a great name for an electric car. Right? I think it would be fun. Except the thing is, I drive long distances, like probably driving to the sweepstakes convention this year in Arkansas. So electric vehicles really aren't conducive to those kind of long ass hauls. But if you want to spin around town, it's really great. Okay, so we're going to do this. Let me see if I can do this backwards. So you go like this, and then you roll. Oh, not your lucky cup. What's up with that, Buttercup? Nothing tonight. Bub kisses, they say. Oh. Well, that's okay. We'll go again and get a coffee in the morning. Oh, no problem. I know, but you're going in the 90s because you know why? Ever since the pandemic, we have no sense of time. Sometimes I have to think several times during the day, what day is it today? What day is it today? That's why everything in my calendar has an alarm on it to remind me 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour before, depends on what it is, so that I don't forget. And I get snapped if I'm working on something, I get snapped out of writing, because especially if I'm writing, I get right into a blog post or a newsletter or something, and I just absolutely lose track of time. I even have an alarm to remind me that, hey, it's 15 minutes before you're supposed to go live. Make sure you are ready. So I even have an alarm for this. So now if I want to do this, I have to get out of this one. This one also has a Tim challenge. So I can go in here and do some picks. I'll just literally pick the first player every time right now just to do it and hit submit picks. And now I'm in, and I could get some points or something for this one. So it's in progress. This one, you can make the right picks and earn points, and I can win a Tucson. That would be very nice. And then if you want, because every 400 points you get a free coffee, you can go in and they do like their own Wordle version, right? And I clearly don't have a daily streak. I should be doing it every day. I don't know why. And then there's also offers. So you make sure when you get an app like this, that you go in and you do all the options to maximize your points, your entries, your chances to win, whatever it is. Right? And okay, so the other app is McDonald's. We're bouncing back and forth. I did notice the other day too, their Shamrock Shake is out. And it, if you order one, it does have the snack thing on it. Okay, so you have to play now. Oh, okay. So this one you have home. So here's where you can see what the prizes are. $15,000 and this and that. There's points and there's other things. And there's food prizes, but they're all, there's food prize. Let's see if we can do this. Hold it up. There's food prizes. Oh, keep trying. Oh, it's not my night. There's food prizes, but there's till March 3rd, $15,000 cash prize. So that would be all right. And so someone in the first one was Lisa T in Ontario. The second one was Jingmi and G in British Columbia. So what I do like there, one of the complaints I hear all the time is, does anybody actually win those giveaways? And the answer is yes. And I like it when companies do that because I call it back-end marketing. Oh, Andre said, yeah, I got 2,000 points. And usually it's nothing. So one of the things that I like to see is when companies do that, because for two reasons. One, it shows that there's actual winners. And two, it gives them something to share. So people feel more comfortable entering, because people say, well, nobody wins. Well, yeah. Now, some companies never post. I've never seen like Coca-Cola post winners when they had theirs. Pepsi would be doing one with pin codes. And people in the groups would be like, did anybody win the $10,000 this week? Did anybody win? Crickets. So we would never know who won. There's no purchase this year. It's mail-in only. Well, technically, by law, that's considered a no purchase entry option because you're not having to make a purchase to enter. So let me find that clause. So it says, no purchase necessary. No purchase mail-in methods of entry are also available. Okay. And so, for example, by law, that's considered not a purchase. Now, here's what I say about the purchase entries. Okay. It depends on the cost of the item. Okay. This small coffee or tea or whatever, I think was $1.65. I think it was. Okay, with tax, we have tax on our coffees. Or was it $1.66, I think, and then they round down because we don't have pennies. We haven't had pennies in like a decade. So we round up or round down. So it was like if it came to 9, it would go up. Yeah, Beth says, I think last year you could get a free roll. Well, I think they took that away because they did the cups, right? They're trying to figure out which combo gets them the most sales during that period. So, so this is like $1.65. Our postage just went up. I think it's like $1.10. Well, I might as well spend the $1.65 for the small one and get a chance to win, 2 chances to win, and have a coffee or a tea or whatever, hot chocolate, whatever's in the cup, right? So it makes more sense to do the purchase, because by the time I would get an envelope and a card and a stamp and my time to go to the post office, I could have just gone to Tim Hortons and got myself a coffee and had 2 chances to win, because I haven't fully read the mail-in option, but I bet you that's only 1 chance. So now it just makes more sense to have 2. Same with, we have a couple of chocolate bar ones going on right now. You buy a chocolate bar and you send in your receipt. You take a picture of your receipt, you send it in, and you have a chance to win one. Just, we maxed out our 10 entries because it was 5 per person. So I did 5 for me and 5 for George, for Kit Kat. And Aero Bar is having one. Well, our Aero bars are under $1. So I might as well just buy the chocolate, have the chocolate and an entry for less than the cost of a stamp. Now, sometimes our beer companies will host giveaways. Now, a case of beer has gotten very expensive in Canada. So even at Costco, you'll find them. I think it's like $65 for a case of 30. Beer is very expensive in Canada. So if they have a no purchase entry option, we take that. We go and we mail it in, because at that point, even if it was including a self-addressed stamped envelope, you were still cheaper than the beer. That's one of the things I used to look for when I pin code hunted. I'm very curious to see if I will be pin code hunting this summer, because I did not do it last year, because the last bastion that held out for pin codes, which was Canada Dry, went receipt based. Now I'm curious to see. So what happened was they were just pin codes, and they used to run it from May to the end of August. So 4 months, from like the first week of May right through. Then the previous year, they did it from May 1st to December 31st. And I held on to codes, and we ended up winning like a coupon at the end. It was ridiculous. And they didn't even do it right because they said they had so many prizes, 165 prizes or something, but there was like 200 and something days in the contest. And I messaged them. I'm like, can you explain this part in the rules to me? I don't understand. You say you have this many prizes, but you're giving away a prize a day, but there's so many prizes. Where are the other 77? Am I like not reading this properly? Can you please explain it to me? I don't want to call them out and say you're lying. I just play dumb and say, I don't understand. And they went, oh no, there is a prize a day. And then I realized the agency made a mistake, but I can't believe that the agency, the lawyers, like nobody thought to add up the days between May 31st or May 1st and December 31st. Lawyers, everybody. Like it went through creative, it went through account managers. I worked in an agency. I know how many people touched it. Like at least a dozen, maybe more, including legal. That's the one that gets me. And so they were short 77 prizes. Now I know it wasn't the sponsor because it's an agency and it's the sponsors and it's the agency's fault, which means the agency had to pony up the other prizes. So I thought, oh, they're just going to add in 77 coupons because some of the daily prizes. So the other thing is the year before they were giving away a prize an hour. You could win a coupon or you can win a prize. So they had a ton of prizes. We were trying to win every hour. It was great. This time it was a prize a day. So the odds of hitting the exact time were like, it felt like a snowball's chance in hell. So we won a coupon at the end because I held my caps because I knew what they call is the flow of inventory. The caps would be long gone from the store, but the contest would still be open. So I knew my odds of winning something closer to the end would be way better because nobody would have codes left. So I would code hunt, but I also knew that it was a bit of a fiasco. And I thought they are changing it next year. They're going to change it next year. Watch. George was like, how do you know? I'm like, I'm a marketer. I can see the writing on the wall. And sure enough, the next year, which was last year, they went receipt-based, no more PIN codes. I was like, oh. So one of the cheapest ways to do that was I'd go to Dollar Tree and I'd buy like 5 separate transactions. I would buy a Canada Dry. But sometimes they were so close together because I was like doing one. They were saying, no, this is a duplicate receipt. And I'd even mark the receipts and everything. And they're like, no, it's a duplicate receipt. So I realized if you do that kind of thing, you have to put a different product with each one so that none of the receipts look the same. It was a bit ridiculous. Or you might want to go and then go in line and it would have a different timestamp or something. I don't know. I was a bit cranky about it. So I think I lost probably half the receipts that I submitted because they decided they were duplicates, even though they weren't. And that was costing me $1.50 a bottle, or was it $1.75 for a bottle of soda? Because it was the cheapest way. Because you could also do it with a case, but why would you do that with a case? So I'm really curious to see how that went for them and if they'll go back to PIN codes or they'll stay. Oh yeah. And they shortened it. It went from May to August 31st. And we did win and they were doing draws. That was the other thing. There was no instant win components. You'd submit and then they were drawing so many prizes per week. They were doing like 18 to 20 prizes a week. They had so many prizes and then it was divided up. And each week you could go read the rules and they had them all divvied up. So we won a Keurig. It was great because I had won in a previous year, I think 2 or 3 years before, I had won a big Keurig and I was so excited. I probably have an unboxing somewhere. And it was a big one. And this was great because I didn't own a coffee maker anymore. And so I just had the French press. So it had the big coffee pot and the Keurig and it was excellent. And then I only ever used the Keurig part. We never made a pot of coffee. Never. And I thought, this is ridiculous. So I thought, I want a little Keurig this time. Because that's the way my brain thinks. I'm not going to go buy one. I'm going to win one. Sure enough, I won a little one. And this one was cool because it makes the iced coffee and the hot coffee. You just have to push. So we're giving the old Keurig that isn't being used to George's daughter because they drink pots of coffee every day. So I'm like, great, this thing will get used for both. It's going to a good home. And that's the other thing, right? You can always share what you want. So I'm curious to see if we do that. Now, Amy is just reminding me what I put in the actual title for this show was, how's my book coming along? Prizes everywhere. What do you want to learn? But this popped up. And actually, technically, this is actually part of the book. There is a section on different types of giveaways, whether they're in person, in store, radio, the different types of radio giveaways, mail-ins that we just talked about, because mail-in has dropped down to pretty much, now not always, like there's the odd one, but I'm comparing it to when it was just mail-in to, it did this kind of a thing, right? Mail-in did this as online went that, right? We had that kind of a graph. And then online and social media, right? Like they both did that. So we have mail-ins, and then there's text messaging, which here there aren't as many where I live. Mainly you do exactly what I did at the beginning of this live stream, which was like listen for your code word and you text it in. If they call you back, you qualify or you win, or it depends on whatever the giveaway was. I did win Hosier tickets for September doing that at the beginning of the month. It was my first prize this month, and it was a text in. So you had to sit and listen for the code word, and you had to text in. So there's texting. And then of course there's social media. So I have all the different chapters on that. So I'm about halfway through the book, and right now I'm going to be doing a review of all the links. I also have to figure out the format. One of the things I'm doing is I'm reformatting it with something that I didn't have in mind when I started initially writing it was I'm going to make it an Audible book after. So some of the examples that I've written out that were a bit visually based, I'm changing the wording so that whether you read it or whether you listen to it, you learn how to do a giveaway. Oh, Yvonne says, I love doing mail-in. Had colored envelope stamps and a container of UPC codes. Oh, we're playing a contest like that right now in Vancouver. If they answer your text, you get $100. But the grand prize is $10,000 or two prizes that we wouldn't want. Well, somebody wants them. Maybe not just you. I know. And sometimes I've heard people turn down prizes because they wanted this prize and they got that prize and they're like, no, thank you. So that's what's happening there. So yeah, so now I'm doing another sweep of what I've already written. Because I've done 4 audiobooks now, and I've learned a really interesting process in doing the audiobooks, in that sometimes things that make sense on paper when you're visually reading them do not make sense when you're speaking them. Because there was a couple of times I'd be reading something Helene wrote and I go, that doesn't make any sense. And you look at it and it makes perfect sense. And then you say it out loud and it sounds stupid. It's you get a choice. You get a choice. Okay. So there you go. You get a choice. Oh, hello, Yvonne. I didn't click off. I clicked on the next comment. Oh, Amy says, so this is the other thing, that there's a whole section on people, which is clubs and conventions. And Amy says the Central Iowa winners are always looking for people. So if you're in the Iowa region and want to go hang out, there's a link on my website, and I'm going to be reviewing all and updating all that. So in the original book, I had a lot of links and things. I've ripped them all out because they change so quickly and it's better to have them online. So I'm like, hey, here's a whole section on this. Go to this link and you can find them all listed. So one of the things I'm working on at the same time, like a parallel project, which is a revising Contest Queen. It needs a major overhaul. I haven't overhauled it in years. Some pages are coming forward, some pages are moving, that kind of a thing. For example, resources like sweepstakes aggregates, that's a page that is used all the time on my site. When I originally designed it, it made sense to have it where it is, but now I'm moving it to link right off the homepage, for example. So I had a map that I drew up and I sent it to my webmaster, and then I never got the funds to do it because it's thousands to redo a site, especially one of that size. So that's what we're working on. And who knows, I might even have a logo makeover. I'm thinking about it. I think it might be time for a logo makeover. I've been using this logo for 20 years this year. So yeah, actually, technically OLS does exist. It was bought. The URL was bought by somebody who doesn't, I think, understand sweepstakes the way we understand it. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with the website. I've had a chat with him on DMs back and forth. He's an interesting fella, but I should have had the sense to grab that URL, but I didn't. Oh, well, that's okay. And then it could have gone to me. You just keep the crown. Yep. And the thing is, I'm focusing on contests and the book, but I've noticed like I'm not blogging as much as I should be on Contest Queen because I've been focusing all that energy over at Words for Winning. For example, well, let's just check. Let's see. I keep checking because, you know, a watch pot never boils. No, it's not up yet. I'm waiting with, you know, on bated breath for Confessions of an 83-Year-Old Sage to be available on Audible. It's there. It's waiting. I put it up a week ago. It says it takes the reviewing and publishing typically takes 10 days. In my experience so far with every book, it has been shorter. So now I'm like waiting for it to appear. And when I bought the rights to Tag Powell's works, I got 10 of his books, technically 9, because one was the first edition and the second edition, and I'm doing the third edition. Oh, Amy's asking who bought OLS. Okay, I'll go look him up. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I was chatting with him on X, and I think it was before Elon Musk bought it. So I think technically I was chatting with him on Twitter. That's how long ago it was. Let me see. Yeah, so I was chatting with him. Let me see how long ago this conversation was. Let's see if I can get a date on this. Oh yeah, I talked to him 2 years ago. And he's in I think he's in India, and he asked me not to give out his real name. So I won't. Because he says, yeah, please don't tell people who I am. I said, okay. So yeah, I think he's somewhere in India. Because in India, contesting is a massive. I still would like to learn more about the hobby over there. Because it's a huge hobby. Because it is a global hobby. Like, it's really big in the UK. Like, Super Lucky Di just had her 10th year with Lucky Learners. And I want to get into a position where I can go to the UK and hang out with Di in Brighton. Because I've never been to Brighton. And I've never met her in person. That would be such a treat to go over and hang out with her. So that's one of the bucket list items. So who knows what'll happen in a year, right? Anything can happen. Exciting stuff can happen. So I was talking about the book. So I need to go through and design it so that, and it's going to have a PDF because there is some links in it still. Like when I talk about the aggregates and that, I talk about, and I do put the URLs in the book. So I'm going to remind people that I'm not going to talk every URL in the book. I'm going to have a caveat. So what I have to do is I have to write the whole book and publish the print and ebook edition. Then what I have to do is I have to go through and I have to rewrite it to be read. So I'll say there's, I'll add in a section at the beginning that says, note, there are a lot of resources and links in this book. And because this is the audio edition, I obviously can't print them or link to them. So I've included a PDF that does just that. And I'm not going to read out every URL in the book. When I'm referring to resources and things, please visit the PDF that was attached to this Audible edition, something like that, or audio edition. You don't want to say Audible because it's also sold on iTunes. So you want to say something like that. So it's really fascinating doing that. So then I have to rewrite. So I have to write the book twice. Just because it's fun. Oh, OLS, he took it down. It wasn't working for him. Let's go look. Online-sweepstakes.com. Let's see. I didn't spell it right. I left out the N. Let's try it again. Oh, it's there. It says online sweepstakes. Oh, online-sweepstakes.com. Yeah. That's the URL. So he's got it running as an aggregate. It's interesting that he's put copyright 1997 to 2024. And it looks like you have to become a member. Yeah, I think you just sign up for a free account. And there's nothing on the about privacy page, interest, blue. Oh, they have Blue Sky. That's interesting. User agreement. Let's see how he has this. Sometimes they have. Yeah, he doesn't have, I don't know if he just copied user things or whatever, because there's no, I don't know if this was done by a lawyer or not. Interesting. I'm surprised he doesn't have the dash in his logo, though. Anyway, it's there, but it's not the same one. It's not the same OLS. Okay, let's see. Where did StreamYard go? There we go. That's the problem when I keep opening tabs to talk about things and look up stuff for you guys. Then I'm like, where did I go? Where's my live stream? Yeah, that's fun. Okay. Oh, Bill just showed up. Late to the party. That's okay. Bill is known as Captain Billy J, and he has a YouTube channel. And I love seeing his perspective because, like, sometimes we both attend the same convention and we're both filming different things. And at the last convention, Tom Cavalli of I Win Sweepstakes was filming. I can't remember if Christy did any. Christy of I Win Sweep Sheet put any up. I was filming. He was filming. So it's really fun because you go and you see all of our different perspectives at the event. Because we're all filming different things and hanging out with different people. So it's kind of fun. So he's done some. Unfortunately, he won't be at this year's convention and we won't miss him terribly. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up and go finish my green tea. So sad. But I am glad that I found my rim roller and we will use it tomorrow. Keep following me on all my socials because I have been posting usually the first day of these giveaways I show. And then after that, I usually just put it to stories because let's face it, you don't need to see what I roll for 30 days straight as a video. So, oh yeah. So Bill did bring up a good point. With filming at a convention, you can't film the actual events at a convention, which I understand. Yeah. So what they don't want you doing, like, is if somebody's doing a speech, filming their speech, because people paid to attend the convention, and you can't just show what people paid to go see. It's like a paid event. However, and I wouldn't capture any of the audio. Like, I would just scan or show like 10 seconds of somebody up at the podium speaking. But I wouldn't actually keep their audio. I would just film all these clips, and then I would put them together, and then I would do a voiceover recording, maybe with a little music. So, I am filming some of the events, but I'm not sitting there with my camera up the whole time filming, Tom's entire speech. I'm just filming for, 10 seconds, him up there talking or whatever. Or I did it when we were all like, I was at the podium and I scanned the group because I got it from my point of view on the stage. But yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to have a convention ever again because I have lost tens of thousands of dollars doing it, because what most people don't understand is it's a lot of work by myself. The last time I ended up holding a convention, all the volunteers backed out and it was just two of us running it. And then the next time, that was actually the first time. And then the next time I did it, we got blocked, and it was just a bit of a fiasco. And so then I lost the hotel contract that cost me thousands, and we had to go hold it at another venue. And basically every single prize at the event I had to buy out of pocket, because normally it comes out of the convention budget. But since I lost that on the hotel deposit, I bought all the prizes myself. So that took me a long time to pay off on my credit cards. That wasn't fun. So, yeah, I won't host one, because what happens is, and what most people don't understand is, when you agree to a hotel, so say I decided to host one in Vancouver. So I go find a hotel in Vancouver that has a convention space. So I rent the space, which is thousands. You generally have to use the AV company attached to the hotel to do like a screen and microphones and projector and podium and all that stuff. And that's thousands. And then you have to say, well, they say how many people are attending, and you go, 500. And they go, okay, so how many people are going to stay here, and how many people have room nights? And you go, let's see, half the people. So let's do some math here. So let's say we expect 500 people, but they're all going to stay with somebody. So let's say divide by 2 is 250. So let's say, but some are local. They're just going to come. So let's say there's 200 people that are going to stay in. So 200 rooms would be rented, and there's 3 nights at the convention. So that's times 3. So you're expecting a minimum of 600 nights, and say the room is 150 a night. So say 150 a night, but we know Vancouver is low. So that's $90,000. So if that many people don't book that many nights in the hotel, and I sign the contract, and they're short. So say I only sell, so say only 100, let's say 175 times 3 are booked, times 150. Okay. So 78.75. So 90,000 minus 78,750. Oops. Okay, so I would owe the hotel $11,250 to cover the cost of the rooms that were not covered, on top of all the convention fees. That's just one example. Then the rooms tend to be like $5,000 to $10,000 to rent, and then AV equipment can be anywhere between 5 and 10, depending on what you do. So you're looking at, so you need to have, so you're looking at a budget of about 150 to 200,000 to run a convention. So if you get 500 people times how much is the convention this year? How much did we pay? Say $250. Let's say $275. Okay, that's $137.5. Yeah. Yeah, Carolyn, find a group travel agent, do a cruise out of Vancouver, nothing out of pocket for you. That's how the Winter Circle did the cruise convention in 2000. Yeah, there was a cruise. That was actually why the conventions had so much trouble after 2017, was because they did do a cruise in 2017. There was only 300 people that showed up, and there was a lot of problems with it. But just for example, that's $137.5. But you still need the space. You have to do the pricing. Who's going to organize it? Who's going to make sure everybody has rooms? Who's going to take care of the name badges? Who's going to take care of the registrations and the welcome kits? Who's going to guarantee any speakers that can come? Like if you run a convention, like there's a difference between a bunch of sweepers deciding they're all going to go on a cruise together and just hang out versus actually running a convention, because you still need a space on the cruise to host the thing, right? So yeah, no, I'm not running it. I have 10 more books to write. I have 5 more audio series to produce. I have translations coming out. I think I might do the French one. It's been audited, but it hasn't been proofread. But my mom started it before she had eye problems because she speaks French and said it was fantastic. So she goes, just publish it. It'll be fine. I'm like, all right. So I'll have the French edition of the Name It and Claim It game coming out. Yeah. So, yeah, the cruise had problems because it was booked during the school year. And it was for a whole week. So anybody that had a job that was seasonal couldn't come, like teachers. And anybody that had kids that would usually come, there was no time off. So they had to be there for school. So that wasn't going to work for them. It was a whole week instead of a weekend. So if you didn't have enough time off, you couldn't go. Because it was a week, it was more expensive than a weekend cruise. And that was another problem. It was also booked during a holiday weekend, and it was apparently the beginning of hurricane season. So it was like, yeah, it wasn't, there was a few, it should always be during the summer. It should always be July or August, just because of all those things. Now I have had it in June, because in the United States, a lot of kids finish school at the end of May, and they basically have June and July off, and they go back like mid-August to school. But in Canada, we get off at the last week of June, and then it's July, August, and you go back to school the beginning of September. So generally, though, they are done during the summer, and that's the sweet spot. July or August is the sweet spot for the conventions. And for the last, I can't remember how many years, it has been in August, usually just before kids go back to school. August is hurricane season in Florida. Yeah, I believe the one that was in Orlando was in July, if I remember correctly. I believe it was in July. I was in Orlando, but this year it's in Little Rock, Arkansas, and next year it's back into Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to guess it's going to be around the same weekend it was the time before. So it's been the beginning. It was, Phoenix was in July, the first week of July, because in 2023, so in 2022, I think it was in August. And then the next year was in Phoenix. It was in July because I went on my first cruise, and then I came back and I was home for a few days, and then I went to Phoenix. And then last year was in Vegas, and it was in August. And this year it's going to be, it bounces around, right? Little Rock, and then it's going back to Phoenix. June 1st through November. I thought it was actually September through December. Maybe it's changed. Because a long time ago, it used to be September, October, November, December. Everything's changing. Anyway, so yeah, that's the numbers is why I won't host a convention again, because it's a lot of commitment and it's a lot of work that I don't have bandwidth for. I need to grow my business to the point I can hire an assistant just so I can keep writing more books. Because last year I had the crazy idea that I can publish a book a month, and I don't know what I was thinking. I managed to publish 4 and 1 audio series. So that was pretty good. This year I've already got 1 Audible, and I think I want to do an audio series a month. So another one called The Master Keys to Persuasion will be out this month. My web guy said we could do it. So I'll have 2 things out this month so far. And I'm working on Prizes. And then once Prizes out, I'm going to work on that audio. And I should work on the audio for Money and You, because I'm going to hire a male narrator for that one. And I'm going to do the Silva Method book. So those are the big projects. And I'm not going to plan any more than that, because that's a lot. And maybe throw in a few translations, because their translations are done. It's more like editing and layout, and it's not as big a process. So I could do some translations, because I've got German being worked on, I've got French done, and I'm looking for an Italian proofreader. So that's what we're doing there. So we have some languages coming out. I was talking to a guy about Romanian, and I have somebody else that wants to do it in Czech. There's so many languages people want. Oh, and I do have the Spanish edition of Confessions of an 83-Year-Old Sage coming out, because I just sent it off for translation. So there you go. So that is the wrap up and what I've been working on with Prizes. So it's actually not just Prizes. I actually multitask all the book projects. So I have some stuff with the editor. I have some stuff that I'm working on. I have some stuff with my web guy. I have some stuff with the audio guy. I've got all these moving pieces. But, haha, Bill, you can help with Pig Latin. Yeah. Anyway, that's what we're working on. And stay tuned. Keep following me on all my socials to see what I win and what I win. And I'm going to be doing a little video on my little adventures in Kingston, Ontario at the Kingston Film Festival, which is going to be spectacular. And a nice weekend away, just a couple hours from home. Trip number 23. And I got 10 more months to win 2 more trips to be 25 and 25. Send me some good vibes.